The unspoken truth about why people secretly hate you. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Maybe someone suddenly avoids eye contact, gives you a half-hearted smile, or responds to you with cold indifference. You rack your brain, wondering, what did I do wrong? But the truth is, sometimes it has nothing to do with you at all. People can dislike you for reasons you'd never expect: jealousy, insecurities, misunderstandings, even the simple fact that you refuse to conform. And the worst part? Most of them won't even tell you why. They'll just let the resentment simmer beneath the surface. But what if you could decode it? What if you could understand the real reasons behind the silent hostility? The passive-aggressive remarks, the friendships that fade without explanation? In this video, we'll uncover 9 surprising reasons why people secretly hate you, not so you can change for them, but so you can navigate these situations with clarity, confidence, and most importantly, peace of mind. Let's dive in. 1. The hidden danger of envy and jealousy. Have you ever noticed someone treating you with subtle hostility, even when you've done nothing to provoke them? It's an unsettling feeling, one that often stems from a silent, corrosive emotion: envy. While admiration can inspire, envy twists that admiration into resentment. Instead of seeing your success as motivation, some people view it as a painful reminder of what they lack. Jealousy doesn't always come from major achievements. It could be your confidence, your charisma, or even the way others gravitate toward you. For some, your presence alone becomes a mirror reflecting their insecurities. And when faced with that reflection, rather than working on themselves, they may seek to tear you down. This kind of resentment rarely stays hidden for long. It manifests in passive-aggressive behavior, unfounded criticism, or even outright attempts to undermine you. Some might spread rumors, question your credibility, or try to downplay your efforts, all in an attempt to level the playing field in their own minds. But here's the truth: their jealousy isn't your burden to carry. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Others' envy is beyond your control, and wasting energy on it only distracts you from your own path. Instead, focus on what you can control: your actions, your mindset, and how you respond. The best way to handle jealousy? Keep growing, keep thriving, and let your success speak for itself. 2. The silent damage of misunderstandings. Not all conflicts begin with anger. Sometimes, they start with a single misinterpreted word, a misplaced tone, or a glance that lingers just a second too long. Communication is delicate. What you intend to say and how someone perceives it can be worlds apart. And when misunderstandings take root, they often grow into something far worse: resentment. Small miscommunications might seem harmless at first, but over time, they pile up. A joke taken the wrong way, a text that seems colder than you meant, a moment of distraction mistaken for indifference. Slowly, the gap widens. People begin to build narratives in their minds, seeing you as distant, rude, or even disrespectful when, in reality, you had no such intention. But here's the real danger: most people don't address these misunderstandings directly. Instead, they let the frustration simmer beneath the surface. Days turn into weeks, perceptions harden. The longer it lingers, the harder it is to undo. So, what's the solution? Clarity, awareness, active listening. Before assuming the worst, take a step back, ask questions, clarify intentions, and just as importantly, extend the same courtesy to others. Not every offhand remark is meant to offend. Not every silence is a rejection. Sometimes, it's just a misstep in the dance of communication. The more we recognize this, the fewer unnecessary battles we fight. 3. When values clash. The hidden source of resentment. People don't always dislike you for what you do. Sometimes, they dislike you for what you believe. Your values, shaped by experience and upbringing, define how you see the world. But here's the catch: not everyone shares the same perspective. And when core beliefs collide, resentment can take root. It's not just about politics or religion. It could be your work ethic, your lifestyle choices, or even how you define success. In a world where people often equate their beliefs with their identity, any challenge, intentional or not, can feel like an attack. Instead of seeing differences as an opportunity to learn, many choose the easier path: judgment. They label, they distance themselves, they turn disagreement into disdain. This divide isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's a quiet, unspoken tension, a shift in tone, a conversation cut short, a friendship that fades without explanation. The discomfort grows, not because of direct conflict, but because neither side is willing to bridge the gap. So how do you handle it? With perspective, patience, and respect. The Stoics remind us that every belief is shaped by personal experience. Epictetus once said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." Instead of forcing agreement, focus on understanding. You don't have to change your values, and neither do they, but choosing to listen instead of judge? That's how true wisdom and real connection begins. 4. The power of gossip. How lies become reality. A rumor spreads faster than the truth. It starts as a whisper, a casual remark, a slight exaggeration, but once it takes off, it gains momentum, twisting and turning until it barely resembles the original story. By the time it reaches its final destination, it's no longer just gossip, it's your new reputation. People are drawn to rumors like moths to a flame. There's something irresistible about a secret, something thrilling about being in the know. And once they hear something scandalous, whether it's true or not, they pass it along without hesitation. Why? Because gossip isn't about truth, it's about entertainment. About filling in the blanks of someone else's life with assumptions and half-truths. The real danger? Once a negative perception takes hold, it's hard to shake. Someone who barely knows you may already have an opinion, shaped entirely by what they've heard. And if enough people believe it, defending yourself feels pointless. So how do you fight back? You don't. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control what others say, only how we respond. Marcus Aurelius advised, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Let your character, not rumors, define you. The truth may take longer to surface, but when it does, it stands unshaken. Instead of chasing lies, focus on living in a way that makes them irrelevant. 5. The shadow of insecurity. When self-doubt turns into resentment. Not all hatred comes from anger. Sometimes, it comes from something far more subtle, insecurity. When people feel uncertain about themselves, they often look outward for someone to blame. And if you happen to embody qualities they lack or secretly wish they had, you may become the unintended target of their frustration. Insecurity is like a silent thief. It robs people of their confidence, their sense of worth, and their ability to appreciate others' success without resentment. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they see them as reminders of their own shortcomings. Instead of being inspired, they feel threatened. It's easier to resent you than to confront their own fears. This dynamic plays out everywhere, at work, in friendships, even within families. A coworker might dislike you, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your competence exposes their inadequacies. A friend may grow distant, not because you've changed, but because your progress makes them feel left behind. It's never about you, it's about what you represent. So what can you do? Recognize it for what it is. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Someone else's insecurity is not your burden to carry. Don't shrink yourself to make others feel comfortable. Instead, keep growing, keep striving, and if your light makes others uncomfortable, that's their battle to fight, not yours. 6. The cost of a closed heart. When a lack of empathy creates resentment. Imagine walking into a room and feeling an instant coldness. No words exchange, no direct conflict, just an unspoken tension. Often, this isn't about what you did, but about what the other person fails to see, your perspective, your struggles, your humanity. A lack of empathy creates distance, and that distance breeds resentment. Empathy isn't just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about understanding, seeing the world through their eyes, even if you don't agree with them. But not everyone takes the time to do this. Some people are so caught up in their own experiences that they can't acknowledge anyone else's. They judge quickly, assume the worst, and react to what they think you mean rather than what you actually say. Without empathy, misunderstandings turn into grudges, disagreements become personal attacks, and instead of looking for common ground, people build walls. Over time, those walls become so high that even an innocent comment or a neutral expression can be misinterpreted as an offense. So how do you navigate this? By staying grounded in your own integrity. You can't force someone to understand you, but you can control how you respond. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be 1. Lead with kindness. But don't let others' lack of empathy make you question yourself. Some people won't see you for who you are. Don't let that stop you from being your best self. 7. When competition turns toxic. The dark side of rivalry. Competition can be healthy. It pushes us to improve, to set goals, to strive for more. But when the desire to win turns into an obsession, it stops being motivation and starts becoming something darker: resentment, jealousy, even sabotage. Suddenly, it's no longer about self-improvement, it's about bringing others down. You've probably seen it before. A colleague who seems irritated by your success, even when it has nothing to do with them. A so-called friend who downplays your achievements or subtly undermines you. A family member who treats every accomplishment as a personal challenge. In their eyes, your progress isn't inspiring, it's threatening. This happens because some people tie their self-worth to how they compare to others. Instead of focusing on their own journey, they measure success in relative terms. If you rise, they feel like they're falling. And if they can't match you, their next instinct may be to find a way to diminish you. So how do you deal with it? By refusing to play the game. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Focus on your growth, not on others' insecurities. There's enough success to go around. Real competitors don't need to tear others down. They're too busy building themselves up. 8. The weight of expectations. When society resents those who don't conform. People like predictability. They feel comfortable when others follow the script: graduate, get a job, settle down, live life according to the unspoken rules. But what happens when you decide to write your own story? When you choose a different career, an unconventional lifestyle, or values that don't align with the norm? For many, your choices aren't just different, they're unsettling. Society has a way of enforcing expectations. Not always through direct criticism but through silent disapproval. A raised eyebrow, a dismissive remark, a conversation that suddenly turns cold. It's not that you've done anything wrong, it's that your choices challenge the way they see the world. And for some, that's enough to create resentment. Why? Because when you step outside the lines, you force people to question whether those lines should have been there in the first place. Your freedom highlights their limitations. Your courage reminds them of the choices they were too afraid to make. And rather than face that discomfort, it's easier for them to judge you. So what should you do? Live your truth anyway. As Epictetus said, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. You don't need approval to be happy. You don't need validation to be fulfilled. The only life you're responsible for living is your own. 9. The silent pain of being overlooked. When a lack of recognition breeds resentment. Everyone wants to be seen. We all crave acknowledgement, whether it's for our hard work, our talents, or simply the effort we put into the relationships around us. But when that recognition never comes, when our contributions go unnoticed or, worse, are taken for granted, resentment starts to take root. In workplaces, it's the employee who gives their all but watches promotions go to others. In friendships, it's the person who's always there, always supporting, yet rarely appreciated. In families, it's the one who holds everything together but receives little more than an expectation to keep doing so. Over time, that frustration builds, and eventually, what began as a desire for acknowledgement turns into bitterness toward those who seem to receive it effortlessly. Here's the truth. Recognition isn't always fair, and waiting for it can drain you. Some people will never notice your efforts. Others will take credit for what you do. And if your self-worth is tied to external validation, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's approval. So what's the solution? Redefine recognition. As Epicurus once said, do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Instead of waiting for applause, take pride in your own work. Instead of seeking approval, know that true success isn't measured by recognition, it's measured by the value you create. Even when no one is watching, let them hate, you keep growing. At the end of the day, people's resentment is rarely about you, it's about them. Their envy? A reflection of their own insecurities. Their judgment? A mirror of their fears. Their negativity? A weight they carry, not yours. The Stoics remind us that we can't control how others see us, we can only control how we respond. So respond with strength, with clarity, with purpose. Keep building, keep thriving, keep becoming the best version of yourself, whether people like it or not. And if this message resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Just type, "I choose growth," so I know you made it to the end. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights on mastering life with wisdom and resilience. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and never let their hate dim your light.